always like to hear how folks got into the hospitality industry and what curves and
I was fortunate enough to be involved with a great group of people at my start of my career who really took me under their wing and trained me and helped grow me. And I just kind of used that as a springboard to go from.
Hi, this is Ted Kelly with another Ted's Hospitality Minute. Hey, today we've got an awesome guest on. His name is David Mignano. He is one of the top 20 hospitality executives to watch in the industry. He is setting the records and smashing the old ones, and we are happy to have him on and looking forward to hear what he has to share with us today. Hey, David, how are you?
I'm doing great, Ted. Thanks so much for having me on today. I'm really looking forward to talking with you.
Hey, well, awesome. Well, first of all, I guess we should say congratulations to you as being a top 20 hospitality executive, but also B, I think you're part of the number one podcast team in the hospitality sector, No Vacancy. So congratulations to you on both fronts.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a fun ride, coming out of COVID and kind of developing that show with Glenn and Anthony and being able to kind of build it to what it's become. So it's been fun, but thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So usually before we get into our conversation, I always like to hear how folks got into the hospitality industry and what curves and all types of different directions you took to get there. So talk a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are today in the hospitality sector.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think if you ask that question to most people, it ends up with the same answer, at least in my experience, which is got into it by accident or by necessity. But I'm one of those types of people. I was coming up, and undergrad was broadcast journalism, so TV, radio, sports broadcasting was the main focus, and came out of school right around the 2008 recession. So it wasn't too many jobs out there at that time. I was working as a video editor for a small startup company, and I just was not happy with the job. And I needed something because I just had my daughter, and this is now 2013, and I have a family member who works in hospitality for one of the bigger companies, and he's been with the company for a long time. And he said, "Listen, you're personable, you like to travel, you like hotels, give it a shot." So, uh, really, out of necessity of needing a job that I didn't hate, which I was at the time, I got a part-time night audit job at a small extended stay hotel in the New York area, and kind of fell in love with it, and was fortunate enough to be involved with a great group of people at my start of my career who really took me under their wing and trained me and helped grow me. And I just kind of used that as a springboard to go from part-time night audit to operations manager to director of front office to front office manager at a big box property to revenue management, director of revenue, and now currently as a GM. So wouldn't say it was my original goal to be in hospitality, but I'm glad I found my way to it.
Yeah, that is awesome, and it's unbelievable what you just said. How folks start in the night shift or the back of the house operations team or the doorman, and they end up really moving through, to significantly higher levels in the hospitality world simply by just starting with the bottom job, right? Learning that job and then being able to move to other parts of the hotel. It's just
I mean,
interesting to me how many times I hear that.
that's the advice I was given. My uncle connected me before I got into hotels with somebody who was very big in the New York City market within that same big company. I won't specify which one, but she, her advice to me was very simple. Just get in any way possible. Front desk, housekeeping, engineer, whatever it is, just get your foot in the door and then you can grow from there. Because this is definitely, I'm sure there are other industries, but I can't think of them off the top of my head where you really can do that and start at the bottom and make your way to the top. And, on No Vacancy, we've had a number of CEOs or C-level executives that have started as that front desk agent or that housekeeper or that HR manager, and they've worked their way up to, the CEO of a management company or, the C-level suite of some other management company or an ownership group or an asset management group, or they own their own hotel, right? There's so many ways to go within this industry, and it really is the epitome of you get out what you put in. If you're going to put in the work, it's not an easy industry, but if you can put in the work and put in the time, there really is no limitation to what you can accomplish, regardless of background, regardless of your upcoming, regardless of anything. It will be fair to you if you're fair to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. Um, Talk a little bit about what you're doing now. What are your current your operation, your title, all the good stuff that you're doing in your current day job?
Yeah, so my current day job is the general manager of the Even Midtown East Hotel, which is a IHG branded property in Midtown East section of New York City. My first GM job, and it's really been a great eye-opening experience. I've really enjoyed it. I have a great group of owners who have been really supportive of me taking on this role. I've really fit well within the company. The whole company has been super supportive, providing me resources as I've needed them, but giving me the flexibility and the freedom to learn and grow. But we've been very successful over the last few years. I'm thankful to say in all aspects. I have a great team. I can't sit here and for 1 second say it's my doing. I've been very fortunate to put together a wonderful team, especially from the director levels, who have been able to really, take charge of their individual departments and make me look great when really they're the ones doing the hard work. And I learned this from Anthony, who was one of the co-hosts of No Vacancy. Basically, don't ever be the smartest guy in the room when you're around your team. They should all be smarter than you at their individual roles. And then it's my job to bring that all together. So we have a really good dynamic at the property. So I'm very happy to be where I'm at. And then, of course, doing the production work on the side still with No Vacancy Live, and continuing to try to develop and build that show. And then having some fun on Fridays with Friday Night Audit. So busy.
Yeah, it sounds like it. From the standpoint of New York City, obviously, the urban areas got a pretty good hit during COVID. Has New York City rebounded from COVID? You're thinking, kind of where are they in that recovery?
Yeah, overall, I mean, obviously, New York City, especially the northeastern cities, right? New York City, Boston, Philadelphia. We were the ones to kind of the first to get it. We were hit extremely hard, and we were one of the last ones to come back. But New York City, I can't speak for some of those other cities, but New York City has been very strong over the last 12 to 15 months. There are certainly still some segments that are not back as strong as you might expect or you might be used to pre-pandemic, but as an overall market, it's been really gangbusters since about May of last year. Once we got through the Omicron variant, um, people want to come to New York. They want to experience everything that happens in New York, and even some of the slower periods. Typically, midsummer, late summer, and then obviously early Q1. Those are typically slower times in New York. They were pretty strong. People want to get out. They want to get to Manhattan. They want to see everything that the city has to offer. So, yeah, as an overall market, it's been back for a while now.
Yeah. Yeah, and the folks that you're seeing that are coming to New York, staying at your hotels, are there special re- special things they're looking for, special things you guys are doing them just to kind of reinforce the fact that, hey, we've taken all these precautions, we're back, everything's great. Are they looking, are you seeing any particular items that folks are asking about around your property as they're checking in to your hotel?
No, I mean, obviously, we still have a lot of the procedures in place, right? So we have hand sanitizing stations on every floor by the elevators. We have a lot of the cleaning practices obviously still in place. But to be honest, at least in my experience, travelers want to be done with that, right? They don't want to have to worry about, well, 6 feet this and masks that, and they want it to just be a regular trip. And I would say, if anything, travelers don't want to hear the excuse of COVID anymore for a lack of service. I will say that, at least in our experience, travelers are still wanting, consistent housekeeping service. That was a trend that was moving away. People not wanting the housekeeping service pre-pandemic. It's only kind of grown since then, but um, they just want their regular stay. They're happy to see the sanitizing stations, obviously, but It's not a situation anymore where they want to have to wear masks. They want the plexiglass. They want that interaction. They want that communication. They want that F&B experience. So more than anything, they just want to feel like a regular traveler again.
Yeah, yeah. I think folks want to be they kind of want to forget that that happened, if that makes sense, because it was such a tough time for us. But I think that there's still a certain amount of precaution that people still take. At least in some places, there are some folks that still seem to be taking, precautions on protecting not only, I guess, others but themselves as they kind of go around the hotel property. But which I think is good.
I think everybody, listen, it's the same thing as any part of hospitality, right? You're presenting a service and a product to a wide demographic of people, right? Everybody's going to have their own levels of comfort, and our job is to provide those levels of comfort as best we can to all of them, right? Some people have no interest in sanitizing their hands anymore and wearing masks and having anything with COVID, and some people are still very cautious, whether for personal reasons or just how they feel. Totally fine either way, right? We have to be able to cater to both of them. And we have to be able to provide a comfortable stay for both of them. So what does that look like? Well, that looks like, having certain levels of policies and safeguards still in place like we do, but also allowing flexibility and freedom, and then doing our best to cater to someone who might feel that they need a little more concerns or protections as best we can, as long as we're not obviously causing a challenge for other guests. But that's been our job since before the pandemic. It's been the case, right? Some people, no matter what part of hospitality, that's always been the thing: is catering to a wide range of people and figuring out how to make that stay personalized. There's no difference,
Yeah, yeah. It's always a high bar in the hospitality world, no matter where you are. So,
and there should be, right? There should
yeah,
be. People are working their hard-earned money to come and stay with you on their trip, and I use it especially for New York City, right? For me, I live in in the North Jersey area. I've grown up around Manhattan my whole life. It's nothing to me to go into the city, but for many people that come through, especially in my field of work, this could be their once in a lifetime trip. They may have saved up their whole life to come to the city. That's the way I look at it. It could be that this family that just came from Europe, they may literally have this may be this is my version of their Tokyo trip. Like, I'm going once and I'm going to do it right. So we have to provide the best quality stay. There's no revel for failure.
yeah, yeah. It could be their bucket list trip, and you could be the the you could be the determining factor of whether the bucket list was worth it or not.
Yeah,
you
absolutely. I
know,
mean, I would hate to go to a trip that I've been waiting for my whole life to be disappointed. It
right,
just wouldn't
right,
seem
right, right.
fair.
So what's the hardest part of your job there at the hotel on a daily basis? Would you say?
So from my own, particular responsibilities, I would say the hardest job, but the job that's most important, is working with my team and continuing to create a conducive environment for the team to be happy and the team to thrive and the team to work economically, right? I'm not dealing with the guests typically on a day by day basis, right? Of course, I'm saying hello to them. Of course, I'm interacting with the guest every day or having a quick conversation. But a lot of times I'm looking at spreadsheets, or I'm doing revenue management, or I'm talking to the salesperson, right? Or I'm walking the back of house. My team is the ones who are the front line, checking the guest in, cleaning their rooms, providing the F&B service, right? Then my mid-level managers, they're the ones that are dealing with any service recovery issues and making sure that that level, whatever the service recovery issue is, it stops right there and it's not going to continue. So the guest feels that they've been taken care of, right? So my job is really making sure that they can do their jobs properly and support them as best as possible so they can thrive in their roles. Because if I do that, then they're going to take care of the guest.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. And I guess all of that feedback kind of rolls back up to you guys, and that's how you guys decide, hey, this is what we need to look at improving through the GSS scores and things of that nature. So yeah, it's a it's a challenging space to be in hospitality, but it's also one of the most rewarding spaces when you see people with smiles on their faces and you're really enjoying the atmosphere or enjoying an event that's being hosted at your hotel. That I think that's really the payback when you're in the hospitality world.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, again, we're all consumers, right? We all go to events or travel, right? And we know how we want to feel when we do those things. So when we're able to create that same experience for somebody and know that they go home and they feel good and they have, I have a recent trip I took with my young son that I still talk about and he still talks about. That's the type of experience that I want to provide for people. I think it's super important that we provide that for people, not because they are going to go and tell their friends and then their friends are going to come stay with us and that's going to help the bottom line and the GOP. Of course, it all matters. That's all important. But at the end of the day, when it boils down, you just want to make somebody feel good about their time off from work or their time off from school or their vacation, whether it's a staycation, a weekend away, or again, that bucket list trip, that they just feel good in the time they took to come here.
Yeah, and that is so true because a lot of the clients that we end up working with in the renovation and the PIP world, a lot of times they're looking for ways to enhance their guest experience. So, some of our more recent work was just putting in a mini golf course or putting in an outdoor full size chessboard so the kids outside could have another venue to have a wonderful experience. And the feedback was like they were like, "Hey, this is great. This was this wasn't here the last time we visited." They're like, "Wow, this is wonderful." So you're absolutely right. Anything that you can do to increase that guest experience is something that folk will remember and folk will long to come back for.
Absolutely. I would just caution people with that in mind because I have seen this happen where people they focus on the technology or the new feature or the cool new thing, right? Don't lose sight of the customer service aspect of it because at the end of the day, that's what people are going to talk about. They're going to talk about how they made you feel, right? You can have all these great bells and whistles, but if the team makes the guest feel like they're being intrusive and not welcome, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, yeah. And I heard one guy said, I live in the city, but I like to come to this hotel and hang out in the lobby because I love the bar. And I'm like,
Yeah,
well, well,
yeah,
there you go. There was that was a renovation space that created a go-to destination for someone that lives in the city. It's not just for the guests. It's something like you can create things that people that just live in the city want to come to. Then you're really hitting the mark. At least when we talk about renovations and things of that nature, you're really hitting the mark when folks in the city just want to come to your hotel and hang out because you've got a great bar or you've got a great spa or something to that effect. So it really is an awesome experience when you make it and do it
absolutely,
right.
absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So have you got any big events coming up at your hotel soon?
I mean, we have a variety of things happening. The good thing about being in New York City is there's always something happening, right? Whether it's in my
Yeah.
area or somewhere around the city. So there's
Yeah.
always a moving part, right? And if one event just finished, the next one's rolling up soon, right? So
Right. Right.
you're especially some of these bigger citywides, right? Our big one is UNGA, which is the United Nations General Assembly, right? So even though that's in September, we're already starting to plan for it. We're already starting to talk to potential groups about it, right? There's always something happening in New York to
Yeah.
take your attention.
Yeah, that is so true. New York, New York, right? We love New York. That's a special place.
No, it is. I mean, it is, and people say that, but um, it's again, I've been a little spoiled being around here my whole life, but when I do go to other places, even some other tier one cities, you can see the difference, and not to be bravado or to say, that New York mindset that we're better than everybody, even though we are.
Yeah, yeah,
It's different. It's
yeah,
different that you walk 3 blocks, you can get anything you want, any type of
yeah.
cuisine, any type of product,
Right.
any type of experience that you want, and even
Yeah,
myself, every day I'll walk by and find something. Like the other day, I found a Russian vodka bar. I didn't even know was a thing, and it's basically a bar that is built around all these different types of Russian vodkas. I mean, that seems like it was a pretty, it's a pretty cool experience. I didn't go in, but it was a pretty cool experience to see,
yeah,
and I probably will check it out sometime.
yeah. Well, David, maybe I'll have to come up New York and check it out with you. I like to connoisseur and try different liquors on occasion, not all the time, but on occasion. But But I really appreciate you giving us a few minutes of your time. Again, congratulations on being the top 20 executive, and of course, the No Vacancy podcast being number one, which we're all aspiring to try to take your spot. But we'll keep working, right?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, you guys are number two, right? Like, I mean, you guys are doing great as well. It's not like you're doing a pretty damn good job yourself. So, congratulations to you.
Well, well, thanks so much. We put in the work, and we're trying to see if we can't edge up the ladder a little bit. But I thank you
Listen,
again for giving us a
the
few
one
minutes.
thing about us, is that we're always going to stay hungry. So, keep coming for us,
Yeah.
but we're going to keep pushing ourselves as well.
Keep raising the bar, brother. We're right behind you. All right. All right, David. Tell us how we can reach out if folks are in the city and they're looking for a place to stay. How do they find you guys?
I mean, to reach out to me, it's pretty simple. Just search me on LinkedIn. I'm there. I'm pretty active enough. At least, I'll respond to your messages. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to help anybody out with any questions they may have, whether it be from a hospitality career side or if you're interested in podcasting, I'll help you out there as well as best I can. Again, as I said, I've been very fortunate in my career to connect with some amazing people that have really invested their time and energy into helping me grow. And I think it's only important and fair that I do the same thing for anybody else that I can help. So LinkedIn is the easiest way. Just search my name. And then even Midtown East, check us out.
That's right. Well said. I appreciate the time again, David. Thanks so much for giving it a few minutes of your busy day. All right.
Thanks, Ted. Appreciate it.
All right. This has been another Ted's Hospitality Minute. Hey, look forward to this episode with David coming out soon. And remember, like us on LinkedIn, subscribe to us on YouTube, and we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. All right. This has been another THM. Thanks so much for joining us, guys, and we will see you next time.